Welcome everybody. Welcome to the sunny Cayman Islands and the Cayman Turtle Center. My name is Geddes Sislop. I'm the terrestrial exhibits curator and this is our YouTube live. Okay, so today we're partnering with the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism to bring Cayman Turtle Center to you. We know in this time now we don't have much traveling. We have to maintain our social distancing and we have to stay at home to make sure that everybody stays safe. So what we're going to do is bring the Turtle Center to you. And the feature we're going to talk about today is the Caribbean Aviary. Okay. So, just a little bit about Cayman Turtle Center, for those of you who don't know. I'm just going to read this off here. The Cayman Turtle Conservation and Education Center, CTCEC, we just call it CTC for short, is a conservation, education, and scientific study organization and one of the largest tourism attractions in the Cayman Islands. Its mission and work encompass a multifaceted approach to the conservation of sea turtles and other indigenous animals. Through an extensive and proven captive breeding, rearing, and release program, the center's focus is on green sea turtles, but also includes other at-risk species such as the Cayman Islands Amazon parrots. The aim is to sustain and increase the wild populations. The organization advances the results through the release of captive bred turtles into the wild by collaborative studies and by integrating conservation education. So today, I said we're going to visit the Caribbean Aviary. Part of the Caribbean Aviary's thing is that it's a mini tropical environment. And what we're going to do now is we're going to visit and see some of the animals that are in here. So let's go. So for you kids at home, there are 3 basic rules. Rule number 1, we have to use our quiet voice because you don't want to disturb any of the birds. Rule number 2, we need to stay on the hard concrete path. Stepping off the path means stepping into the bird's safe zone. And it also means that you might step on a baby bird or an egg or something. Okay? And rule number 3, very important, no touching birdies. So, our birds are tolerant, they're not tame. That means that they're very used to people, but they don't like to be touched. They're still semi-wild. So even though they'll let you come very close and you can take pictures, you can even point at them, they don't want you to touch them because to them, that's like a predator trying to grab them. Okay, so no touching, no hugging, no kissing, no licking, no coochie-coo, nothing like that. Okay, so before we go in, we have to enter our bird lock. Our bird lock keeps our birds from escaping. What we do is we go in one door, close it, and then open the other door. That way, if a bird gets in, it's trapped inside until we can get it back out into the aviary. Okay. All right, so once we close that door behind us, we're going to open the other door. As we enter the aviary, there are some rules that we call the aviary etiquette. I gave you the 3 basic ones, but these are the extensive rules. It's very important. People, when walking into an aviary, they like to hold their hands out to encourage birds to come. We don't want you to do that because sometimes the birds get really scared. Sometimes they think you're offering food and they get a little disappointed if you try to offer food. Of course, we don't want you to smoke in here because that's not good for anybody. Okay, so here we are in the aviary. As you can see, it's a tropical environment and there are lots of birds in here. This time of day, most of them are hidden in the shade. And just because you don't see them doesn't mean they don't see you. We have over 100 birds in here and they're all from different parts of the Caribbean. Okay? So we have birds from both the Cayman Islands and other Caribbean islands. And inside here, all these trees that you see are species that they can use in different ways. They can either roost in them or nest in them, or they can eat the fruits or the flowers, or they can use them just for playing. Okay? So let's go around and see a little bit of the aviary. In here, one of the trees I'd like to point out here is a wild papaya. Some of you from North America might know the papaya as a dessert fruit that you will see in the soups. This is what the tree looks like. Now these trees here, we did not put them there. They came from the birds. Birds are very important for transporting seeds. Some birds, like a couple of important species that we're going to show you, that they eat the fruits, they swallow the seeds, and they transport the seeds in their crop or in their gut. And as they poop the seeds out, these trees grow. So birds, wild birds, actually poop the seeds through the mesh of the aviary, and now we have a grove of papaya fruits. Now these fruits are edible, we can eat them. Well, we actually leave most of these for the birds themselves because everything in here is to feed them. Okay. Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay. So, and here's one of our keepers, Mr. Arlen. Okay, so we have a whole team of people taking care of the animals in here. Do you know that we have 2 full-time vets here at the Cayman Turtle Center? Besides sea turtles, which of course is our main focus, we have lots of other species, and our vets have to take care of a multitude of different animals inside here. So, let's go. So right here, you see the sign says different beaks, different food. This is one of the reasons why we have all these different species in here. This is what you call a mixed species aviary. Like I said, all the birds are from different islands, including this one. And they can all live in together because they all eat different things. Each bird's beak is like a special tool attached to its face that helps it to eat whatever it eats. So we choose birds that eat different things in different ways so they don't interfere with each other. Okay? So for example, we have the parrots. The parrots have a beak that's shaped like a nutcracker. So they eat big seeds and nuts. The pigeons have beaks like tiny tweezers. They eat small seeds off the ground and sometimes fruit off of trees. The banana quits or the honeycreepers, they're nectar feeders. We have the saffron finches. They also eat small seeds. And we have our ibis. They have long pointed beaks and they eat fish. Now talking about fish, one of the features in our aviary is our koi pond. So we provide a feature for the birds to be able to drink and to bathe. And since we have a pond, we put fish in it. So our koi here were donated by a local breeder. And we started off with 2 about 5 years ago. Now we have almost 13. Okay, they breed really well and they eat everything that falls in that pond. And I mean a little bit of everything. Okay. So as we walk through the aviary, you can see there are different trees, different birds. Okay. Part of our job here is to take care of the environment as well as taking care of the birds. Just like in the outside, birds need an environment. They live in one place, they feed in another place, they might nest in another place. Just like we live at home, but we have to go to the supermarket to get our food. We have to go to the hospital to get taken care of. Okay, the birds need the same thing. So they all need a wide environment. See? And inside here, we maintain the environment. Okay, look, in the back there's one of our birds. That bright red bird is the scarlet ibis. Scarlet ibis is a national bird of Trinidad and Tobago. They are not native to the Cayman Islands, but they're a beautiful bird, and we have them in our aviary. Hey. So as you can see, the birds are moving around. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around, we're going to meet these different birds, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. Okay? But like I said before, there are 2 special birds that we really like you to meet. Okay? So let's go. So we already met the ibis. But let's meet one of our very common residents. Okay, right there, top of the kennel, is a white-winged dove. The white-winged dove is one of 3 species of pigeons that we have in here. Doves and pigeons are basically the same thing. Pigeons are bigger, doves are smaller. Okay. So doves are seed eaters. Oh, and right here we have a nest. Yeah, so birds do breed in here. That's part of the program we're going to talk about a little bit later. This particular nest belongs to one of our smallest birds that we live in here. It's called a banana quit. It's a tiny bird that makes a very complex nest. They make a nest in a ball. They use all kinds of different materials. This one has feathers, bits of cotton, twigs and seeds, and it has a hidden entrance, which is right about here. See that hole there? That's the entrance to the nest. Now that little bird builds this complex nest with no opposable thumbs. Just think about that. I don't think I can build a nest like that. So we're moving on. Okay, so in the aviary, we have lots of beautiful birds. But we want you to know that it's very important that behind the scenes, there is conservation. That's what the whole Turtle Center is about. It's about conservation. So in here, we have 2 conservation programs. 2 of our iconic local species are being bred and released here, just like the turtles. So turtles are the main program, but we do have other species that we work with. Okay? And I will introduce you to them in a little while. Okay? So we're moving on. Up there, that bright yellow bird is a saffron finch. We'll see if we can find another one. The saffron finch is native to the Eastern Caribbean. They're in Trinidad. They were also introduced into Jamaica and Puerto Rico. And the name saffron refers to the beautiful, beautiful bright yellow color, just like the color of saffron, the spice. Okay. Oh. And there's another saffron finch. As brightly colored as they are, once they stop moving, they can just disappear. Okay. Okay, moving on. We have one of our smallest residents here. Okay, let's go around this way. We want you to introduce you to a special bird. So as you walk through the aviary, you have to look very carefully. If you can, in this tree, among all the other birds, can you see it? Can you see the parrot? Okay, keep looking, he's in there somewhere. Ah, and there he is. That is a Cayman Islands Amazon parrot. That particular one, his name is Ralph. Ralph is one of the parrots that we have in here. We have breeding pairs. What we have here is our national bird. The national bird of the Cayman Islands is the Cayman Islands Amazon parrot. And most people don't know, we actually have 2 national birds. We have 2 Cayman Islands parrots. One for the Grand Cayman Islands and one for Cayman Brac. The one you saw just now was Ralph. Ralph is a Grand Cayman Amazon parrot. And in this cage here, we have B. B is a Cayman Brac parrot. Now there are subtle differences between the 2. Basically they look the same and they're very closely related. But Brac parrots are much smaller. They have their colors on their face are much brighter and they have a different call. But they're not calling now, it's too hot for that. We have a breeding program for the Grand Cayman Amazon parrots. Since 2008, we've been breeding and releasing Grand Cayman Amazon parrots into the wild. And right now, we're the only one on the island that's licensed to do that. So right now, this endangered species, the population has become more or less stable over the years, and we like to think that our program has something to do with that. What we're concentrating on now is the Cayman Brac Amazon parrot, which is the most endangered Amazon in the world because it's only found on a little 12 square mile island called Cayman Brac. So that's what B is about. B and his mate Mango are breeding. They have already had 1 chick last year. And now, in the box, way in the back, if you can see it, Mango is sitting on eggs. So, fingers crossed. Amazon parrots are the green parrots of the Americas. Majority of them are green. Once they're green and they're from this part of the world, they're called an Amazon parrot. And that means that they're from the Americas. The secondary colors tell you what type of Amazon it is. So in the case of B here, he's a green parrot with a bright red face and throat. So they're called the rose-throated Amazon parrots. And there are different types, yellow-crowned, yellow-naped, orange-winged, and so on. But like I said, once they're green and they're from the Americas, most likely it's an Amazon parrot. Okay. So these are their breeding cages. Each one has a private suite. Okay. Ralph, that you saw there just now, has a mate. Her name is Rosie. And you probably couldn't see her, but she is sitting right next to him. Camouflage is a very important thing for birds and other animals. So like I said, there are many birds in here, but you don't necessarily see them, but they see you. Right behind you there is one of our smallest residents. You can see him. That tiny bird hanging upside down in there, if you can see it, is a banana quit. Remember that complex nest I showed you? That's the bird that built it. And we will meet them a little bit later. All right, let's see what else we can find. Okay, so walking through the aviary, the best thing to do is to take your time, relax, and use your eyes. The birds are there, you just have to find them. So it's fun to explore. Oh, up there, a saffron finch and a baby. And in the nest box behind them, that is a white-crowned pigeon. The white-crowned pigeon is the other conservation species that we work with. The white-crowned pigeon is a forest pigeon that's endemic to the Western Caribbean. So all the islands around the Western Caribbean, from Cuba, the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, they all have the white-crowned pigeon. Here, it's a near-threatened species. Okay, so we're going to wrap up soon, and in order to wrap up, I'm going to get one of our keepers to show you something special about the aviary. So Mr. Arlen Bodden here, one of our keepers, is going to show you how, when you come to visit, you can interact with the birds. You can hand feed the birds. So each one of these birds, as I mentioned before, has a specific diet. And you can get them to come and land on you and eat from you by holding out the specific food for that specific bird when they're hungry. It all depends on how hungry they are. So as I mentioned before, this is the time of day when the birds do their siesta time. Just like us, in the middle of the day, they don't want to be running around in the heat so much. So it's a matter of who is most hungry. Are they more hungry or are they more hot? All right, so he has a banana quit. As I said, different food for different birds. So when you visit our aviary, you can have the opportunity to feed one of these birds too. And for a small donation, oh, there's our ibis. I said there's a lot more birds than you think you see. And there, you get to feed one of the white-winged doves. Even the ibis will take food from you if they're hungry. So remember, each one has its own food, so each one has a specific diet, so you can actually decide which bird you want to come to you according to what food you hold out. And by participating with this, we hope that you become a little more endeared to these animals, because we take care of them, we care about them, and we want you to care about them too. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. We hope you will get to visit us on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please remember to like us and share this video with your friends and family. Have a good day.